I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, April the 1st, brought to you in part by EPRA Zero by Norbrook, a weatherproof pour-on approved for all classes of beef and dairy cattle, kills 39 species of internal and external parasites, has 0 days of meat withdrawal. For more information, go to norbrook.com. Talk about a rally killer. That prospective plannings report that come out on Wednesday morning, it couldn't have been worse for your cattle industry, really. As high as these feed prices have already gotten, it's just, it gave corn reason to go even higher, and of course it did right off the bat. But the prospective plannings report tells the intentions of farmers, how many acres they plan to devote to different crops. Well, on corn, they had a guess, an industry-wide average of guess of 93.2 million acres, and it indeed came out at 91.144 million acres. So missed the mark by quite a long ways. The range was from 92 to 94 and a half, so it was even below the range of guesses. That makes it even more bullish for corn, bearish for feeder cattle, but really tough. Last year we had intentions of planting for corn ended up being 90.8. So still bigger than that, but not nearly enough to overcome what we thought, given the price of corn has gone up so much. But what happened? Well, your corn prices on your futures market, Chicago Board of Trade, locked up the limit for the first 7 contracts that are offered on the board there, all the way through July of 2022, locked up the 25-cent limit. So May ended the day at $5.64 1/4, likely going to hit $6 soon. December new crop even up all the way to $4.77 1/2. Now your beans, of course your intentions on beans come in at 87.6 million acres, and that's not too far from where your average of analysts guessed, but many of us thought it might be closer to 90. Of course, beans went up big time too. They locked up the 70-cent limit for the first 6 contracts that are offered, all the way through January of 2022. Your close-up May contract ended the day at 14.36 3/4 bushel. November new crop 12.56 1/4. So our feed prices are going to continue to escalate. We could be looking at costs of gain, up above 120, maybe 130, even maybe 140. That's getting close to what cattle are costing that they're putting on feed. I tell you what, it's just really a setback. And I tell you what, it took the wind out of the sails of this feeder cattle market that has just been booming this week, especially. And we only got 2 days and a short morning there, but one of my feeder flash gang members was sitting in a sale in Iowa, and he said it took the air out of the room in the sales arena there. And I tell you what, you could just watch, the morning sales in your sale barns were going right along with what we'd seen all week this week. And then by the time we got shortly after 11 o'clock in the morning, noon, and then all afternoon, they just kept backing up. Real-time index, I noticed, was almost 141, and that's on a 7-day moving average, and it backed up to under 140.75. So just a real rally killer there, and we hate to see that. I mean, yeah, our brothers that are growing corn out there, good for them. I guess the corn stocks report come out too. Your March 1st corn stocks were much lower than what they had thought. Come in at 7.7 billion bushels. The guess was 7.77, so it come down a lot less too. So, indeed, I guess there's not much corn out there, and even though the price is up there, evidently they're not going to plant as much of it as what we had hoped or what we had thought. But I really don't know where those acres went. With corn and beans both being off the mark there, where did it go? wheat may be up just a tick, but what, a guy's just going to let stuff lay out? I'm not sure where. It doesn't really add up, but a lot of those USDA reports don't really add up. You'll probably come back and tweak it at a later date, but all the damage has already been done. But you guys that took advantage of the opportunity to hedge your feeder cattle, if you're grazing cattle this summer and you have yearlings to sell late in the summer and the fall, if you've already took advantage of that, good for you. If you haven't, the prices were down pretty hard, but they're still pretty handsome out there. And I was talking to another Feeder Flash Gang member, and we were visiting about the Livestock Risk Protection Program, or LRP. That may be something, if you guys aren't comfortable just taking a hedge or getting into that market, you may want to go in and do that LRP program. That's a government subsidized program where you can pretty much insure your price for feeder cattle down the line, and it's another government cheese giveaway. They're going to subsidize it 35%, and likely you can insure those cattle for less than $50 a head. And if you've got cattle and you're turning them out and you can't make money at 158 or 159 coming out this fall, you give too much for them. But let's look at your board, and disappointing cattle board on Wednesday by the close. April live cattle futures were unchanged. Of course, your fat cattle are done with corn. So, that makes sense, but a lot of times that pressure is lent over from feeder cattle, but it really didn't, we didn't see that too much. Of course, we didn't know how much it was going to go up, or if it was going to go up, or what it would do, but unchanged at 120.97. Now, remember, your first day to tender delivery or notice of delivery is Monday, and we're still trying to sort out what we're going to get for fats this week. Most of you guys in the Northern Plains are wanting 120. Looking at that April live cattle spot futures contract at just under 121, you'd think we'd be able to get it. But Packers, they do not give up easy, and they are playing hardball, and they would like to keep things, from like a 116 to 118. And they're not paying much attention to that first day of tender notice there. But of course, that's just going to make your April live contract back up once you start having notices for delivery there, because people don't want to get delivered on, so they're going to bail out, and it's going to suck that contract back, which helps your hedged cattle feeders out there, give them maybe even a positive basis by the time we get into next week. How about June live cattle up 67 cents at 122.90. Go to your back months on live cattle, up 50 cents to up $1.27. So didn't really bother them too much with your corn, and it shouldn't, because like I said, your fat cattle are all done with their corn. How about April feeder cattle down 2.95? Now that's a bunch, but it wasn't locked the limit down, and that's a big deal that it wasn't locked the limit down, with corn and beans both being locked up the limit. But down 2.95 on your April at 143.87. May down 2.80, 149.40. You go to your back months on feeder cattle, and they were down 127. That was January, this January coming down 127. And it was all the way your next out that we look at on our nearbys, August, was down 302. But like I said, still pretty handsome out there for late summer, fall delivery feeder cattle. How about your fat cattle trade? Did start to see just a little bit of trade. Most of it, though, was on the Fed Cattle Exchange through Central Stockyards, and they did see some trade on there. Had a good offering on there, as good as they've had in a long time. We did see a little bit of trade in Nebraska, as high as 118 on the Fed Cattle Exchange, so that was pretty good. Did hear of other 118 bids direct in the country, but not a whole lot of trade on a direct basis, or hardly any quoted for Wednesday. Kansas, just a couple of hundred head. It was also on the online auction at 116. Texas had a few sales, just a few loads from 116.5 to 116.75, but no other direct trade, in your feedlots, and we have yet to really establish where that's going to be. Like I said, your northern guys are still hanging on for 120, and they should. We may see that 118 is the best we can get in the Southern Plains, and we really haven't gotten that yet. But it would probably be out there if things don't change much more between now and the end of the week. Box beef cutout values up big again. Of course, your packers are reaping all the rewards of this grilling season starting to come around. Choice cuts on Wednesday afternoon, $247.12 up $229. Select up $212 at $238.13. What else is going on? We're at the end of the month, or starting a new month here, and we always have our Zactran Market of the Month. We've got a good one for you here this time. And I feel like I'm, giving some kind of a USDA crop or cattle and feed report. I'm going to unveil it here, but there's no repercussions on the deal, so I'm just going to tell you who it is. But your Zactran Market of the Month, Enid Livestock Market in Enid, Oklahoma. Tell you what, you got to give it to Dakota Davis. He's a young family man of faith. He's doing an awful good job there, just hustling. Come down from up there in Caldwell, Kansas, and come down to a spot that there's a need for a good auction there, and he's really been hustling and getting some cattle in there. Had the most success really in the last 30 years in that facility. It is a grand facility there in Enid, Oklahoma. Tell you what, right on the highway there, a big nice exchange building, and then really facilities like a feedlot out there, but it's a massive facility there, and he's having some good success there, and we hope that he continues that. He signed on with DV Auction. He started doing in-house videos here this past month. So, and he had success doing that. So give it to him. He's doing stuff right and having a lot of success. And he's the Market of the Month and going to get some Zactran swag, and hope he enjoys that. And we wish him a lot of luck in the future. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DV Auction. Late in the day on Wednesday, sitting at 140.73. That's up 78 cents, but like I said, it was almost 141 there working. And of course, it's just up to date all the time, as fast as you can refresh your computer. Unlike your CME Cash Feeder Cattle Index, you have to wait another day for. But it was up 78 cents, but it was almost 141 there late in the morning, right before that report come out, and then that's how much difference it made, even on a 7-day moving average index there. I tell you what, it really took a toll. Talk about your big sales on Wednesday. OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma, 5,900 head there, and they were well going by the time that report come out. I had a good sale. Feeder cattle sold $2 to $4 higher. Steer calves $4 to $8 higher. Heifer calves $5 to $10 higher. And really a good sale there, and guys still scrambling to buy stocker cattle to turn out on the big vast grazing areas there, and also still looking for feeder cattle because our market's been up so much, and there were still orders out there, and I'm sure those order buyers kept cranking those cattle until they got a call to kind of back off a little bit. How about winter livestock? Dodge City, Kansas, 4,200 head there. Feeder steers $1 to $3 higher. For some reason, feeder heifers $1 to $2 lower, but calves steady to as much as $6 higher. Tell you what, really good cow and bull market there in Dodge City, and I wanted to touch on that. $4 to $6 higher, and your top cows, I mean your big nice cows, your bull cows we used to call them, as high as $82, and that's as high as we've seen them for quite a while. Bulls were $8 to $10 higher. You never see that, but your high dressing bulls up to $99. Let's talk about some of your big markets around. How about Stockman's Livestock Market, Yankton, South Dakota, 4,700 head for them on Wednesday. Looked at your online automated market report on Cattle Market Central. They're not federally or state reported there, but it sure looked like feeders were steady to $2 higher, and that's where your best test was. Look at this automated market report there. Look at 705 head of 6-weight steers averaging 659 at 164.55. 478 head of the 7-weight steers average 746, 149.85. Big time quotes. 586 head of the 8-weight feeder steers averaged 843 at 140.39, and almost 900 head of 9-weight feeder steers in Yankton, South Dakota. They averaged 955 with a weighted average price of 134.34. That's a good sale. Big time quotes out of there on the average of all those cattle within those weight groups. Look at a couple individual quotes. How about 5 states livestock auction? Clayton, New Mexico. The sale barn that my grandpa built, back in the late 40s there, but still going in the same location. Of course, they've had to replace some of the pens, or most of them, and at one point they had a fire in the sales arena, but it still looks a whole lot like it did whenever he built it. But they had a good sale on there, and I tell you what, it's not the Garden of Eden that it was last spring there. They did have a little bit of snow around Clayton there, but it's still pretty dang dry, and that's dry country in northeastern New Mexico. 69 head, 456-pound little steer calves bring $191, and that's a big time quote for just about anywhere. But the best quote that I saw and for the area and everything, and your Zactran top quote for the day, come out of Bluegrass Stockyards of Albany, Kentucky. 65 head, 776-pound steers bring $149.50. And that's your feeder flash for Thursday.